It's very cold here in this temple. It's about 10 degrees Celsius. There's no frozen dews, but all the bodies are frozen now. All the bodies are freezing now. Everyone is freezing now. Look at the rest of us. You are looking good. You are determined to practice Dhamma. It's not too difficult. It's up to whether you have the gut, have the determination to practice Dhamma, whether we have the right effort, the determination, the gut to practice, and bravery to fight against defilements. Therefore, I don't want to cough a lot because a lot of doctors looked at me while coughing. Train yourself to be accustomed to fighting against defilements. The way that we can fight against defilements through having mindfulness. Without mindfulness, you can't fight against anything, because defilements will take all of you. There are three types of mind. First one is wholesome mind, which comprises with mindfulness. All unwholesome minds comprise with no mindfulness, and neutral mind. Neither wholesomeness or unwholesome. There are no mindfulness. Only the wholesomeness mind that can develop the mindfulness. Therefore, we have to practice and train our mindfulness well. Before doing that, you have to be determined. At the beginning, it's going to be a little bit difficult because we train ourselves our whole life to have no mindfulness. We're not accustomed to having mindfulness because we keep on drifting away, wandering away since we were young, since we were born. We're all wandering. For example, when we was a baby, lying down, and whenever our relatives visit us, they just peekaboo us. They try to sway our attention towards outside. We are persuaded to attend to other things outside ourselves since we were young. So we're never accustomed to becoming self-aware. Instead of becoming self-aware, we are accustomed to wandering. Therefore, we have to come to train ourselves. Be determined. We were born in this life. We have a chance to meet Buddhism. Do not waste these opportunities. The Buddha comes to this on this earth once in a blue moon. Do not waste this opportunity. Be determined to free yourself from the defilements, the power of defilements and cravings. Each person has no freedom. Every one of us are the slaves of the defilements and cravings. They are our boss, a secret boss, a mysterious boss. We never realize that we are a slave for them. If you're a slave for another person, then you realize that now you are slavery. You're in slavery. But when you are a slave for the defilements and cravings, you never realize that because they commanded us to do things all the time, like want us to taste something, eat something, find something, see something, feel the texture, and contact good things, or think of something fun. Think of something fun, enjoyable. It commands us to search for happiness and get away from the suffering all the time. Without knowing this, we never realize that we're are commanded all the time. We satisfy those things on and on. When we want to see something, we go on doing that. Want to listen to something, want to smell something, want to taste something, we go on doing that right away, on and on, through the power of the cravings commanded at us. Most of us are feel conceited and feel brash that nobody can command us or force us to do anything. But when you come to practice Dhamma, you realize that you have no freedom. You're in slavery. You're still the slaves for that. Those who are freed from these noble ones. Even non-returners, stream enterers, and once returners are still under defilements, but this different level of subtleness of defilements. But how could we freed ourselves from the defilements craving? The first thing is you have to realize that now you are commanded by the defilements and cravings all the time. You can observe yourself, sometimes crave for this, crave for that all the time. You can observe your mind. Whenever the craving arises, for example, want to crave for listening, craving for feeling touch, or thinking of something nice and enjoyable and happy. Whenever craving or wanting arises, there are intention. Intention arises to satisfy those wanting cravings. And there are good intentions and bad, evil intentions as well. And they are tempted not to have the intention. There are different types of them. And the intention is actually the action, making the mind take actions. The mind that takes actions is the mind that creating realms, that deluded in realms. There are two types of realms. The first one is Patipopa. In Bali, we born as human, this is one realm. But the karma pop is actually another kind of realms that keep on circling within our hearts. Whenever there are intentions there, the mind creating realms, we are deluded in fabricate good and bad things, and neither good nor bad things. The mind that fabricates the different things and try not to fabricate things, the mind get to work. The mind that comes to work will cause some burden on the mind. But now the mind needs to work. The minds that never work only limited to the minds of noble ones. But for the rest of us, whenever we make contact with the world, we fabricate sometimes good, sometimes bad. But for the mind of noble ones, Arahant, they don't fabricate. It doesn't mean that noble ones or Arahant wouldn't be able to think. They can think like the rest of us. Some people thought that Arahant wouldn't be able to think. Actually, no Tawan Viti in Bali, these are the process through the mind. It actually occur like the rest of us, but their mind wouldn't consume those emotions. But not like the rest of us, our mind consume object and emotions, sometimes good or bad, or constantly. And we are addicted to those objects. We are slave for cravings. Craving is the one that takes us good objects for us to search for them. So you have to closely look that whenever craving or wanting arises, what are the wantings or cravings? We want we want to have something, we want something to go away, we want something to stay all the time. There are three types of wanting. First one is wanting to get the forms that we like. And sometimes we want to preserve those forms. But if you meet with the things that you didn't like, you want it to go away. The other thing is you want to listen to good things. Whenever you hear the good things, you want it that pleasing not voices to stay as long as possible, but when you find the displeasing voices, you want to go away. So this wanting is the craving for the objects through the six sense doors. So the cravings or wanting arises through these six sense doors. And each channel can be further categorized into three types. The first one is you want to achieve it, you want to get it away, and you want it to stay as long as possible. So it's all 18 types of cravings. So you can keep on learning through the mind. And yourself, whenever craving arises, it commanded to search for objects. The objects through six sense doors. Sometimes you want to listen to music, watching movies, find something to eat, and talking to friends. You're wanting all the time, constantly wanting. And how do we do? When we satisfy those wantings and cravings, whenever we want to think of anything, we delude it and drift away to think of those things. You can closely observe that the wanting arises all day long. If you never realize that wanting arises, we thought that we are freed from everything. We are free. But actually, that's not the case because we are commanded all the time. You can observe by yourself whether it is true or not. Could you see the mind that hungry for objects? Hungry. There's a hunger for objects. Sometimes you're sitting still, you're drifting away to think about the things. There's a mental objects. The mind keeps on working. Nobody can help us. We have to help ourselves. The master can guide us and warn us that we never truly free. We are slaves for the cravings. The cravings command us all day long. Being able to witness this, the mind will become bored and want to free from it. To fight against them, we have to be determined, strong. We won't give up. If you give up, then you will lose forever. But if you start to fight against them, have chance of winning. When I was a layperson, I kept on practicing so I could see my mind. Despite that it was commanded by the craving, the mind itself, which actually was covered by the cankers or subtle defilements, infiltrated the crust and the flesh of the mind. And not only we are slaves for the cravings, we are caged, we are prisoners of the subtle defilements or cankers as well. So being able to see this, you couldn't endure, you couldn't stand. Once the mind could see the suffering and bad things about this, the mind wouldn't give up. We have to free from this prison. We have to break away from this prison. We have to be free. Once the mind has determination to fight against defilements, this is when you develop the right effort. We are determined, we are brave, and have energized to fight against them. But once we have the determined or right effort, we have to know how to fight against them. We cannot do through sheer force. We have to use the method of the Buddha, which is the full foundation of mindfulness. The full foundation of mindfulness are the ultimate exercise and lesson, and it's not too difficult as well. It is actually something that normal people could do. To cultivate full foundation of mindfulness, at the beginning you have to find something for the mind to reside. The home base for the mind that Lord Buddha taught us is the first one is our body, feelings, happiness and happiness, and the mind, wholesome and wholesome, and Dhamma, the phenomena, physical and mental parts. It's going to be difficult for this one because we have to witness the process of working of these things. Easy things that we can use is actually the mind, the body, and the feelings. Without the residing place for the mind to rest upon, the mind will keep on wandering all the time without knowing that the mind wandering all the way. So at the beginning, we have to observe our full foundation of mindfulness, our residing place, our home base that is appropriate for us. Some people are competent at knowing the body. Some people don't like the body, but instead they like to observe feelings like happiness and happiness. Some people didn't want to observe the feelings, they can observe the mind instead, the mind that is wholesome and unwholesome. For Dhamma, so for foundation regarding to Dhamma is something very subtle and very difficult. We can do something easy first, and the difficult part will be achievable. So you can use, for example, the body as our home base for the mind to reside. How could we reside this? It's actually something that the mind is actually something that the mind knows. Most people, when they have the body, they forget about it. So instead, we try to be aware of our body as much as possible. Like what's the current state of the body. People in this world are not interested in themselves, they love themselves, but they pay attention towards the outside, and they reside in the world of thoughts. As when you are in the world of thoughts, you forget about the body. So to learn about our body and mind, we have to have the mindfulness to be aware of this. The mindfulness arises from the fact that the mind can firmly recognize the phenomena. The first stage, we have to have the home base. When the mind leaves the object of meditation to a home base, and we can realize that without home base, then the mind will keep on wandering away endlessly. The first step, we can observe the body. It's easiest. For example, the body breathing out, sense that. Breathing in, sense that. Not just keep on wandering away. When the body is sitting, walking, lying down, we have to be aware of that. Like the body is sitting now, be aware of that. Feel the body that's sitting. So the mind won't forget about our body. Keep on sensing it. And once the mind drifts away to think or feel, or see or listening to something else, then forget about your body. If the mind accustomed to becoming aware of the body, then it will take short time to be lost, and you can come back to the aware of the body as sooner. The mindfulness will arise more frequent. You have to do this. It is a must. Do not be conceited and you think that you're better than the Buddha teaching. Some people like to do like determine the emptiness and try not to think. That's not the path. If you walk the path of full foundation of mindfulness, then that's the safest way. For example, if the body is sitting right now, becoming self-aware of the body sitting. When we becoming self-aware, we don't look at it, we don't force focusing it. We just feel the movement of the body and the existence of the body. We're only the ones that feel or recognizing of the body that is, for example, sitting, breathing out, or recognizing or being aware of the body breathing in, being aware of the body that's sitting, walking, lying down, being aware of the body that is moving and staying still. The mindfulness is the one that can recognize all these. At first, you can recognize for a short period of time and then you think of something else for a long period of time. But once you keep on training, the lost period will be shorter and shorter. You become more being aware more often. The mindfulness will occur more frequently. At first, it takes time, long period of time, and becoming lost all the time. And you just realize that you are lost. But if you keep on training, the mind can recognize the phenomenon of being lost. Once the being lost arises again, then you can come back to feel the body again. And you can feel the existence of the body, or the movements of the body, or changes of the body. Without the home base or observation, you couldn't be able to prove. Do not think that you're better than the Buddha. When you want to practice full foundation of mindfulness, you have to start with the home base or observation. What's the observation of home base? Actually, it's not for the purpose of being good or being better. It's actually for the purpose of atta being bali, which is to burn the defilements. If you come to practice and want to be good and you to be peaceful, that's not when you want to burn defilements. You are satisfying the defilements and craving. So coming to practice, you have to determine for the purpose of fighting against defilements, not for anything else. Because the defilement is actually our number one enemy. In order to fight against defilements, you have to develop the self-awareness. Self-awareness is actually called sampasanya in Pali, or discernment. You're becoming self-aware, knowing now that you are about to fight against defilements, and you know the method to fight against them by being aware of having the mindfulness to be aware of the changes of the body and mind. You keep on practicing like this, then the mindfulness will become stronger and stronger. This is just an example to use the body as the object of meditation. The feelings can be used as well as more subtle. At first, we could observe the feelings through the bodily sensation. For example, while sitting, you see that after a while, there's some pain and aches infiltrates the body. You can see that the body is actually, at first, it's comfortable, relaxed, but then all the comfort's gone. It's become painful, and so you have scratchings there. You have to have the mindfulness. You can have the mindfulness, the feelings arising with the body, but the bodily sensation. But if you don't like this, you can observe the feelings through the mind. Through the mind, each and every one's mind arises together with the feelings, happiness and neutral or indifference. For the rest of our minds, we have three types of feelings. The first one, happy, and then neutral. Neither happiness nor unhappiness. But for the noble one's mind, Arahant mind, that can have two types. The first one is the pleasing and neutral. There are only two types of mind. But for the rest of us, we have three types of feelings. If we want to observe these feelings, then it's not something difficult. Just try to be aware of the mind, whether it's happy and happy or indifference. Is it difficult to be aware of the mind, whether it's happiness and happiness or neutral? It's not actually difficult. It's like whether you're trying to be aware of the mind that the body is breathing in and breathing out. There's nothing difficult to it. But we ignore being aware. The Dhamma that the Buddha taught us can be achievable if we want to do it. But if we ignore them, we wouldn't be able to do it. Like observing the body is not something difficult. The body breathing, you sense that. The body moving, sense that. The body staying still, sense that. The body lying down, walking, standing, sense that. It's nothing difficult. Whether the body is happy and happy, it's not something difficult. Whether the mind is happy and happy or indifferent, it's not something difficult to observe. Just keep on observing that as much as possible. Whether your mind is subjected to happiness or indifference, you have to try it out. You have to try it out. It's not difficult. It's difficult because you don't do it. You think that Dhamma is something stillness. To observe the body, but you don't like observing the body, you don't like observing the feelings, you can instead you observe the mind. It's the mind regarding full founders of the mindfulness, whether the mind is wholesome and unwholesome. You can start from by observing the minds that subject to unwholesomeness. Like myself, I was angry nature. I had developed a lot of aversion. When Luangpu Dun taught me to observe my mind, I did that all day long. Sometimes the mind is angry, sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's irritated about a specific topics, and sometimes it's not. So I observe the person. It's not difficult whether to see whether you are angry or not. It's not something difficult. When you see that the mind develop aversion, the angry mind just fell off. You don't have to try to extinguish it. When you come to practice up to this stage, we don't try to let go of the defilements, because as soon as the mindfulness arises, all the defilements is gone. You don't have to try to get rid of it. For example, if you are angry right now and you have the mindfulness to be aware of the mind's developed aversion, the aversion falls away, will fall away. The mind return to become the mind that is not angry. I start off observing the mind by observing the minds that are angry and not angry. The mind that developed aversion and not having and having non-aversion. When you can observe like this, you can observe things more subtle. Whether the mind is greedy or not. When, for example, the mind is greedy, wanted to observe, want to see things, want to listen to things, want to taste something, want to feel some touch that you like, want to think of something that's fun and rash. The mind develops greed. The cravings or greed is actually one kind of greed or lust. The greed that very strong becomes the craving. The characteristics of the mind is when the mind develops aversion, the mind tries to push away things, want to throw things away. For example, if you dislike someone, you want them to go away. On the greed or the lust is something else. It's the opposite side of the person. We want to attract something. For example, seeing the cute cat, we want to take them in and want to hug them, embrace them, hold them in our arms. This is the behavior of the mind. When the person arises, we want to push away things. When the greed or lust arises, the mind like to attract something inside. When you develop delusion, is something the most difficult to observe, because you don't realize, you don't know what happening. You don't know because you're lost. You forget about yourself. If you come to observe the mind for Patterson regarding to the mind, you can observe something that happens more often. Like anyone that developed that angry, you can see that the mind is full of angry mind, not angry mind. Anyone's like greedy nature, you can see that you're wanting this and wanting that. You don't sometimes don't want this. If you come to practice and more subtle, you can see the mind wander off, not wander off. It's quite difficult to observe. To observe this, you have to have some tricks. Meditate on an object once the mind forget about the object meditation. It means that you're drift away, wandering away. At first, you're gonna be lost for a long period of time, but when you keep on practicing, it becomes shorter and shorter. For example, breathing, breathe out. Though once you forget about the Buddha and forget about the breath, to think of something else. At first, you forget about something else for a long period of time, but once you keep on practicing, it becomes shorter and shorter because the mindfulness is more quicker and quicker. Because the mind can firmly recognize the phenomena being lost, then the mindfulness can arise. Mindfulness is non-self. You cannot command it to happen. It happens because the mind can firmly recognize the phenomena, because the mind can often see that particular phenomena. That's why forefathers and mindfulness told us to observe the phenomena more as much as possible in order for the mind to recognize, memorize the phenomena, and give rise to the mindfulness on its own. Is it difficult to observe to know that our mind is angry or not right now? Is it difficult for you to observe that the mind is greedy or not, non-greedy or not, or delude or not delusion? If you're not well trained, then it's difficult. For example, if you're driving and someone just cut in front of you and you are angry, and our instinct to see the person that cut us, and we want to do that to that person. When a person arises, then we look at the person that makes us angry instead of observing the mind that is angry. Instead, if you've been lost through the six sense doors, we're making contact with the world, a person arises. Instead of seeing the person that makes us angry, or seeing the condemned or scolded, or the dog barking and give us aversion, will pay attention to the dog. That this dog just keep on barking at night all the time is very irritating. We pay attention to the things outside. Instead, we have come to observe our mind, pay attention to our mind. When another person like you're angry at someone or angry at dogs, knowing your mind that you are developed angry aversion, not the dog. We just turn just the opposite things, but the different results. If you come to observe yourself with searching for the Dhamma, which has ending, searching for the objects outside are endless because the wanting keeps coming up. But if you turn inwards to searching for Dhamma within our mind, then it has ending. To sum up, it's actually not difficult for forefathers and mindfulness if you are determined to fight against defilements. Therefore, you have the determined mind, determined heart to be diligent to cultivate mindfulness, and we realize that we are slaves for the defilements and the prisoners of the things, and we keep on observing ourselves and fight against them. If you can observe the feelings, the body, the mind, whatever you do, that's okay. When I practice, before meeting with Luangpu Pramote, I read books, read the teachings of masters. Sometimes they taught about the body, and I entered the samadhi to observe the body, and and observe the strand of hair, the hair spot, the skin, uh, the skin gone, the 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 skull gone, all the bones gone, and the minds become dominant. The body is gone, just only the mind left, single mind left. I don't know what to do next. The mind did like to observe the body, think that it's very shallow, it's not something fun. Actually, those who observe the body, they think that the body is really fun, but to me, the mind is like the body. My temperament is different. When I meet with Luangpu, I pay respect to him. I said that I like to practice Dhamma, and Luangpu contemplate for a period of time, a good period of time, and it taught me to practice by observing my mind. When it comes to observing the mind, see two things at first. The first one, the feelings, for example, happiness and happiness and difference arising within the mind. The other one is you see wholesomeness and wholesomeness within the mind. When you make contact with the world and develop the happiness, without being able to catch up it, and the greed will arise. When you make contact with the world and suffering arises, the suffering happens through the mind because of it gives rise to diversion. Diversion will cut in the middle between the feelings and facts. If the mind is slight and shallow, you'll drift away very easily. When observing the mind, observe the mind that is suffering and happiness and indifference. When you're happy, greedy arises. When you're suffering, the aversion arises. You are comfortable, relaxing, delusion will kick in. So I observe these things. And ultimately, I can see that the feelings are not the mind. The mental fabrications, good and bad, are not the mind. The feelings actually non-self. We cannot command it. Can we command that the mind should be happy or not? Unhappy? No, we cannot. Keep on observing this. And we understood that actually the feelings, happiness and difference are impermanent. We could not command it to happen. This is a non-self. And wholesomeness and wholesomeness, all these things. Is it permanent? No. Sometimes, for example, we have the confidence and faith. Sometimes we don't. Sometimes we have the effort. Sometimes we have mindfulness. Sometimes we don't. Sometimes we have wisdom. Sometimes we don't. And the wholesomeness cannot be commanded as well. We cannot forbid the greed, aversion, or delusion. For example, we want to go shopping we want to do window shopping. Just a blink of an eye, you just bought a lot of things. We cannot command it to happen. We don't aware of the greed. The greed takes over us, and we are in debt right now because we just swiping our cards all the time. When you keep on guarding your mind, observing them, you can see that the fabrications, good or bad, is happening are impermanent. Whether it's good or bad, the fabrications, which is good or bad, fabrications cannot be commanded, not under our control. That is non-self. If commanded not to have to suffer, not to greed, not to angry, you do so. You think that, for example, you want to break up with your boyfriend and you don't want to be with them anymore. But once they try to speak nicely to you, you just come back with them. You cannot command your mind. When you keep on practicing cultivating and the wisdom will arise, you can see that the feelings are non-self. The mental fabrications, good or bad, actually are impermanent and non-self. And keep on practicing, you see that even the mind itself actually impermanent. It's arising and falling away through six senses. There's not just one single mind. If anyone's taught you that the minds have only one single mind, you realize that they are actually have the wrong view. They're not normal minds because they thought that the mind has a single mind. But actually, the mind is rising, falling away all day long. Do the mind of the arahant arising and falling away? Yes. It keep arising and falling away through six senses, but the mind just don't consume the objects. That's the difference. The minds can think. The arahant can think. They think they're very good at thinking without bias. If you keep on observing the body, you see why the bodies have to breathe in, breathe out. We breathe it out. We breathe out because we want to fix the suffering of breathing in. Breathing in because we want to fix the suffering of breathing out. Why we have to change postures? Because if sitting for too long, it causes you suffering. Lying for too long, standing for too long, it causes you suffering. We change the posture because we are pressed by suffering. We breathe out, breathing in because we are pressed by suffering as well. Keep on observing, see that the body is subject to suffering all the time. Once you keep on observing, you see that the body is not us as well. The body is just merely an object, massive substance. It's only the together of the four elements and situated on the space. Space are not air, not like air, like we breathe, not the wind as well, but actually the space. Without the space, the body cannot situate it on a point. There's a place for the body to situate it on. When you're observing the body, you can see the body is merely mass of substances and object. When you breathe it out, breathing in, you can see that the breath coming in and out. When you're drinking and urinating there, you're eating and you're defecating. The body is just like a machine. When they are input, that something out, the output as well. There's not us. That doesn't belong to us. When we consume something, we will excrete it. Not like 笔仙. Do you know 笔仙 in Chinese? It's actually they can consume only they won't excreting. Do not believe in these bīsya because it's unnatural. Once you have the mindfulness to be with the body, you can see the body was suppressed by the suffering all the time. There's only circling and recycling of the mass substances within our body. We can observe the feelings through the mind, see that all the feelings within our minds are impermanent non-self. They are not under our control. If we can observe the mind, you see that unfortunates are impermanent and are not under our control. We cannot command it. Keep on practicing to observe the mind. You can see that the mind itself is impermanent. One mind arises, one mind falls away. Sometimes it's knowing mind, sometimes it's lost mind, sometimes it's knowing mind, sometimes it's all-forgetting mind. Sometimes it's wholesome mind, sometimes it's unwholesome mind. Sometimes happy and happy mind. Or the minds that arises through the eyes to see forms, or the minds that arises through the ears to hear sound, or the minds that arises through the nose to smell things, or the minds that arises through the tongue that tastes the things, or the mind that arises through the body to feel touch, or the mind that arises through the mind that sends all the story of the mind. So the mind itself actually arises falling away all the time. If you can see that the mind is single and permanent, you are developing wrong view called sattva and body. We think that something that's permanent and forever. Keep on training yourself to see that whatever arises falls away. Our body, the breathing out, rising and falling away, turns to be the body breathing in, falling away as well. The body that standing, walking, lying down, actually arising, falling away. So suffering and happiness within our body, arising falling away. Happiness and indifference through our minds actually arising falling away. Or the wholesomeness and wholesomeness through the mind arising falling away. Unwholesomeness and wholesomeness arising through six senses arising fall away. After one point, the mind can conclude that anything that arises will fall away. If you can see this is actually the virtue of Sodaban, the stream enterer. To become the stream enterer, you can walk this path that I told you. Keep on training yourself, and one day we realize that whatever arises falls away. Because the things that arises subjected to the end. Because there is non-self, there is no self, there is no permanent self. The things that we call self, us, actually is wrong interpretations, wrong thoughts, wrong beliefs. When we cultivate the full practice of the mindfulness, we realize that there is no self. There is only things that arises and falls away. This is the path of the noble ones, and walk this path. So walk this path of cultivating the full practice of mindfulness. It's actually the most spectacular, it's the most special one. In the world affairs, I've learned a lot of things. There's a lot of things, and the things in the world are endless. Some people learn doctors, and physician. Once they when they're done with the learning, they have to learn again because the academic changes, the things change, the physics are as well keep on advancing there, quantum and here's there. But the full fathers of mindfulness has ending. The world has no endings, but the Dhamma has its endings. That should be all for today. It's not too difficult, right? A lot of good practitioners comes to in front. So next time I would invite you to go the back of the hall. So it's gonna be speaking, my teaching will be easier. Hold on a sec. There's a dog just looking at me. If could you hear the chicken roaring? It's not actually. It doesn't tell that it's chicken. The mind is the one that interprets. The perception translates that this is chicken. This is phantom. When you think that this one roaring, this is my huge, this one my huge, and you think that it's very appropriate for cooking, just keep on fabricating like this. The mind develop great when you want to have chicken soup. It's just the process of mind working. Number one. นั่งสมาธิทำอานาปานสติก่อนนอน While sitting meditation and do anapanasati before going to bed every night, if there's no mind to observe, we can see the vibrations and feelings through the whole body and cultivate mindfulness from beginning to dawn. I have used anapanasati as my home base, and mindfulness and wisdom, sometimes automatic, sometimes lost, trying to search the way to transcend the suffering, but I never transcend. So the mind gave up and there's no other ways. Just only observe the mind honestly. The intentions of Dhamma practice to reduce it. Just only observe the phenomenon. Can you kindly advise? You have to keep on observing. There's a mind, still the self, the knower mind. trying to search the ways to transcend suffering. We don't forbid it to happen. Whatever it happens, just know so. Just know it's honesty. Just simply know what you do is just good. Now you try to hold on to the mind. You have to you're able to you have to be able to see the behavior of the mind, even in the mindset in the jhana, whether the mind develop raptures and happiness or the mind converges. You have to keep on observing, knowing that, and it happens on its own. It's not ourselves. And training. And number two, I do sitting meditation and listen to your to Dhamma and take turns observing the breath. In daily life, I observe the feelings and fabrications. Take turns observing these things. I greet the greed and the lust and the conceitedness are very high. And I can see the duality of the Dhamma, the minds and objects. You see the connectedness of the mind that cannot be commanded. You can see that all the beings are actually the way they are. Sometimes I can enter the samadhi from moment to moment. I like to extend the samadhi. Papa said that samadhi is something of the byproduct. You have to aim for the transcending first. What you do is good. You don't have to take the route towards the developing the samadhi. Those who practice the samadhi want to enter the mind, but once you enter the mind, you can learn the Dhamma from there. Now you incline the mind towards stillness. You see that? Just try and be aware of this. The mind keep on fabricating all the time. Whenever you want to develop goodness, you want to incline the mind towards that goodness. And you're deluded on that good fabrications. The mind deluded in that fabricate on that realms. Now you're lost again. You don't know that. The mind confused. Can you see that? Good. If you don't know that, that's okay. If you're confused, know so as well. Now you have intention to practice Dhamma. Can you see that? Quit it. Do not have intention. Good. When I said that you don't intend to practice, then the mind low level, and you can feel the change of the mind. Then and you can see that there is no self. Now you're looking at it. You see that? You take a glance to observe the mind. And, oh, is that a self? You practice good too. It's different from number one. Number one's practice through samadhi roots and cultivate wisdom in samadhi, but for you, you can stay here. You don't have to waste your time. Number two is good. You are bright and luminous. Number three, I have the mindfulness to observe the body and mind through the different phenomena that's happening. I use the body as the documentation. Whenever the mind is stable, see that the body is not us. When you drift away through the world of thoughts, then without knowing it causes suffering. I try to separate the mind and you can see the mind is not us. Could you kindly advise? I'll say that is correct. Keep on practicing. The mind becomes stronger and stronger. Do not let any emotions and feelings take over you. Whatever happens, just know so that the mind can be freed from things. Now the mind is not free. The mind is not natural, normal. It's stiff. Let go. Do not have the intention to practice. Do not. have sweet smile. Good. The mind like this is good. Doing like that, not good. Waste of time. Number 4. Use the normal natural mind to learn the truth of the body and mind. Number 4.
รู้สึกตัวในชีวิตประจำวันได้บ่อยขึ้น
I can become self-aware in daily life more often. Every day I try to observe the movement of the body and move the process of working of the mind. Sometimes I'm lost, sometimes I be aware of them. Sometimes it's short, sometimes it's long. I can see that the self has become more shallow too. And sometimes there's no self anywhere to be found. I'm not sure whether I can see this truly or just lost in thoughts. You can see this, but still middle with the thoughts. They are still, you're still scattered. Do not ignore the smarta, the calmness samadhi. You can use the mind that to be with yourself to not become scattered. The mind keep on running away. You see that the mind smile. Observe the body. The body's mind. The body movements. You have to have the home base, the object meditation. Now you lost a bit. Now you just lost. Be with the body, so the mind won't last for a long time. Number 5. I can see the suffering in the middle of my chest and it falls away. And the mind is awakened from the sleeping state. You can see that the mind and the body and feelings are different. The mind scolded but didn't wasn't afraid. I could see that the voices that scolding who is not us, not me. I do sitting meditation. The mind keep on moving and could see light. And I could observe that happiness and calm and gone. I've been happy for 15 days. And I can see in daily life, I could see that the Mara just laughed at me and the mind vibrates, the mind shattered. Can you kindly advise me? Keep on doing. The mind is outside now. See that? If the mind is outside, know it right away. And observe the body and mind so that you can move on. You practice good, but do not let the mind scatter outside like that. If you keep on practicing wisdom and the mind have no samadhi enough, is not stable, then the wisdom defilements can fall in. So you cannot ignore samadhi. Mind needs to be stable, becoming self-aware. You practice good. The mind now is back then is different. Can you see that? It's just now it's outside. Now it's come back. The rapture rises. Also, if you're outside like that, there's nothing to see. You just feel comfortable. That's it. But once the mind is on the page, you can cultivate wisdom. And then you see that it's full of suffering. Come inside to observe, not just go outside. Like that. You can see that the ones that observe just us. Once the mind is outside, you feel that there's no us. Because the us is not outside. It's actually within our mind. Do not try to search for it. When you observe the mind, you can see it. You can observe it, then observe the body instead. See the body sitting or winking, or once the mind develops some strength, then you can observe the mind. The mind is not lost and joyful. See that? The mind keep on changing from moment to another moment. Just knowing them in a relaxing way. Now the mind moves outside, you see that? You can observe like this. Keep on training. Your practice is good. Number 6.
เบอร์หกนั่งสมาธิเดินจงกรมทุก
I
วั
do
น
sitting meditation and
รู้
walking every
ว่า
day.
ความอยากทำให้
I can
ใจ
see that the
เป็นทุกข์
craving
วัน
gives
ก่อ
me
น
suffering.
จิตใจอยู่กับเนื้อกับตัว
A few days
รู้
ago,
สึ
the
ก
mind
อั
has
ศจร
become
รย์
so
มา
aware.
ก
I see,
เบา
I
ส
feel
บาย มี
spectacular,
ความสุข
very
แต่ก็
light
อยู่
and
ได้ไม่
happy.
นาน รัก
Lasts
ษา
not
ศี
very
ลได้
long.
ดีขึ้น
Can
ความโลภ
I
โกร
could
ธ ลด
observe
ล
5
ง
precepts well,
ขอคำ
and
แนะนำครับ
greed and aversion reduces. The Paul said that do more. You practice correct. You practice good. Number 7.
เบอร์เจ็ดภาวนาหายใจเข้าพุท
I practice
ออก
Dhamma
โท
by
อยู่
breathing
แล้ว
good,
รู้
breathe out, no, and
ระห
one
ว่าง
to my
วัน
water
ดู
off
ร่าง
also.
กายเคลื่อนไหว
During the day, I try to
จิต
observe
หล
the
ง แล้ว
body
รู้
movements.
เดิ
The
นปั
mind
ญญา ดู
drift
กา
away
ย
and
และ
also
ดูจิต
I
ไม่กระทบ
try to
อาร
win
มณ์ทาง
wisdom
อายตนะ
by
หก
observing the body
ดู
and
เว
mind,
ทนา
making contact
เป็
with
นคน
six
โท
senses
สะ
and
แรง
observe
เมื่อ
feelings.
จิตไปกระทบ อา
I
รมณ์ที่
develop a
ไม่
lot
พ
of
อใจ
angry nature, and
เห็น
once
ความ
my
โกรธ
make
เกิด
contact
ขึ้
with
น
the
ที่ห
world
น้า
that
อ
makes
ก
me angry,
ขึ้นถึง
the
ศีร
version
ษะ
arising within my chest
แล้ว
and
จิตหลง
hit
เข้า
through
ไป
the
รับ
roof,
เอา
and
อารมณ์ไม่
the
พอ
mind
ใจ
um,
เมื่อมีจิตผู้รู้
lost to
จิต
consume
ที่หลง
those
ไปก็ดับ
angry objects, and
ปฏิบัติอยู่
once
ในแน
the
วทาง
knowing
ไหน
mind
ครับ
arises, the lost mind gone.
แล้วคอยรู้ทันกิเลสตัวเอง
The boss
ให้
said
ใจ
that
ดี
try to be aware of your
ตัว
defilements
หนึ่ง
on
ต่อ
God.
ไป
That's
จะ
good.
เด่นขึ้นมานะ
One
คือ
thing
ตัว
that will be
เซล
dominant
ล์
is that the
ปร
self,
มาณะนะ
the
คอยดู
conceitedness.
ภาวนาเก่งนะดี
Your practice is good.
เบอ
Yeah.
ร์ห้า
Number
จิตหลง
5.
รู้สึกไหม
You're lost. Your mind lost. You see that?
เบอร์ห้าจิตเราไหลไปแล้ว
Number 5.
ไป
You
มัน
drift
ออกไป
away.
แล้ว
Sees wander off.
ไม่ต้องฝึกนะจิตออกแล้วรู้จิตออกแล้ว
Once the
รู้
mind wander off, also
ต้อง
wander
ฝึก
again,
ตัวนี้
also
เยอะ
again.
ๆหน่อย
Keep
ไม่
on
งั้นเดี๋ยว
practicing
มันเกิดรู้
more.
อะไรต่ออะไรเยอะแยะไปหมด
Otherwise, you're knowing a lot of
เดี๋ยวมัน
things
ฟุ้งไป
and you become scattered
ถ้าจิตมันไม่ตั้งมั่น
because the mind is not stable.
เบอร์แปด
Number 8.
เบอร์แปดรักษาศีลห้า
I try
ใน
to
รูป
observe
แบ
the 5
บ เปลี่ยน
precepts
จาก
and
นั่ง
in
เป็นเดิน
form
ห
meditation,
ลังตื่นนอน
changing
2 ชั่ว
from
โมง
sitting to
ก่อน
walking
นอน 1
meditation,
ชั่วโมง
before
อย่าง
going
ทุ
to
กประ
bed
เภ
2
ท
hours,
มีสติดีขึ้น
waking up 1
นั่ง
hour.
สมาธิ
And
ช่วงสั้น
I
ๆ
used to
ระห
stuck
ว่าง
in
วัน คิด
focusing
ว่า
and sitting
แยก
meditation
กาย
for a
ใจ
short period of
ได้
time. In daily life,
ชี
to
วิตประ
separate
จำ
body
วัน
and mind.
ใช้
In
ความ
daily
คิด
life,
เป็น
I
เครื่อง
used
อยู่
the rising,
หลงบ่อย
falling abdomen as
เห็น
a
ใจ
home
ท
base
ำ
and
งาน มี
drift
โท
away
สะ
very often. I
อิจ
could
ฉา
see the workings of the
โล
mind and
ภ
greed
มีมา
arises.
นะ ตัวเอ
And
ง
there
เป็น
also
ใหญ่
conceitedness as
ฟุ้ง
well. I
ซ่า
could
น
see
เก่
the
ง
self is very big.
ไม่ชอบ
I
ใจ
become
เมื่อกาย
scattered
ถู
very
ก และ
easily.
อยาก
I
หาย
dislike the mind when
พื้
the
นฐา
body
น
is
ใช้ปัญญาน
subjected to suffering.
ำ ควร
I
เว้น
used
ดู
the
กาย
wisdom.
ก่อน
I
ส
had,
ลับกับดูจิต
I'm
ก่
not
อน
sure whether I should take
ส
turn
ติ
observing the
รู้
body
เลย
or
ก็
mind.
เห็นอันนั้นแหละ
The boss said that whatever the
จุด
mind
สำคัญคือจิตเรา
recognizes
ต้อง
knows
ตั้งมั่น
that
นะ
the most important
จิต
part
มัน
is
หลง
that the mind
ไป
is to
มันจะไม่เกิด
become
ปัญญา
stable. If your mind lost, then you won't be able to develop the
ฝึกได้
wisdom.
ดี
Your practice is good,
เก่งขึ้นเยอะเลยนะ
a lot better.
เนี่ยหลวงพ่อดูพวกเราถ้า
When I
8 คน
observe
นะ
all of you,
ดีขึ้น
8
เยอะนะ
people
แต่ละ
here,
คน
you've got better.
มีปรับนิดๆหน่
It's
อย
just
ๆของแต่
adjust
ละคน
here and there a little bit, tweak
ล
and
องเบอร์ห้า
twist.
นะจิมชอบออก
But
น
for
อก
number 5, just the mind is like to go
รู้ทัน
outside.
ตัวที่จิมไปข้างนอกอะ
Trying to be aware of the
มัน
mind
ทิ้ง
that is
กายไปเลย
outside. It leaves the body.
เก่งนะแต่ละคน
Good.
โอเคเลย
Each and every one.
อ่ะวันนี้เท่านี้นะ
That should be all for today.